One of the blessings that I get as a governance program manager for the Central East region is that I get the privilege of reviewing congregational bylaws. Now, I'm a strange man, and that's why I say that's a privilege, because I love reviewing congregational bylaws. But I get to see a lot of them, and you know, one of the challenges I've seen, one of the trends I've seen in our congregations is a desire, I think rooted in our understanding of congregational polity and our wanting the broadest sense of authority to be coming from the congregation, that we have a tendency to put way too much stuff in bylaws. I'm going to put forth an idea about congregational document structure, which is one of those things that I'm fascinated by and very few other people are. And that is that congregational structure happens at different levels. And that different levels have different patterns for how you work with them and how adaptable they are. So the metaphor I use, and it comes from Dan Hotchkiss and other consultants in governance, is that of mixing bowls. If you would go to the Dollar General store and purchase a series of nested bowls that you can put in your cabinet, and they don't take up any more space than the largest one, but they all rest there at different sizes. But they're all inside one another. And the outermost mixing bowl is your bylaws. It's the container that holds everything. It's the container that provides the structure for all the rest of your congregation. And it is natural that we want to put as much in that container as possible. But it's also the most unwieldy container. It is the one that is hardest to carry. It's the one that is really the most difficult to adapt and be flexible, and to which you, as a congregational leader, have the highest level of commitment to follow to the letter. Congregations that have put too much of their structure in their bylaws tend to be more static. They tend to be less able to adapt to change. Because adapting your bylaws is a major project and takes a lot of time and effort. And so the recommendation that I make is that your bylaws be as simple as possible. You need to have a section that defines who you are, what the name is, what a broad understanding of your mission at that time, what is your purpose for existing as a congregation. You need to have a section that says how people are members of your congregation, how you define membership and what the rights and responsibilities of membership are. You need to have a section that talks about how meetings are called, how congregational meetings are called, and what their responsibilities are and how they function. You need to have a section that defines your board officers, and what your governing board structure is. And you need to have a section that talks about how you're amended and what happens with dissolution, how the bylaws change or amended and what happens with dissolution. And you don't have to have anything else. There are bylaws that have far more than this, and there are some arguments that sometimes are valid for putting something in the bylaws. One of the most common is defining an endowment committee in the bylaws, that you want to have an endowment committee that is directly responsible to the congregation and not to the governing board, so that it functions as an independent entity. I don't recommend that, but it is an argument that for including something else in a congregation's bylaws. There are many things that I think do not need to be in the bylaws. Standing committees of the board do not need to be defined in bylaws. Other program committees do not need to be defined in bylaws. The reason is because that limits the flexibility of your congregational leadership to adapt the structure to changing challenges and times.